name is Jason Hall. I'm from Flinders University. I'm here just to conduct an interview with you today about a child with autism in your classroom. So your name is?
Kim McCall.
Kim. And
Sally Ann.
Sally. Alright, I'll thank you for your time today. First question, did you have to modify the classroom setup for the child with autism?
Not the physical classroom setup in any way. There's been no real modifications.
We're just probably aware of where the child sits within the classroom and more so the people he's with rather than the physical setup of the room.
Okay, good. What is it like to have a child with autism in your class?
It's been no different than having any other student, to be honest. I see every student as being, I don't...
They're all individuals.
Yeah.
They're all different in their own way. I guess in some ways it's been a bit of a bonus having our child with autism, because the way for our other students to see the way that he interacts with them and to actually see, it actually brings out the best in some of our students while they're looking after this particular child.
That's wonderful. Okay, did you have any special training to deal with a child with autism in your classroom?
The only thing I've done is go to a workshop by Sue Larkey, who specialises in autism, but that was only a one-day session and not a specific training of any sort, just a professional development.
Okay.
And I mean, similar, I've had virtually nothing, but I guess over the years a few professional development sessions in staff meetings and things when I've had kids with autism before.
I've had, in every class that I've taught so far, I've had at least one, if not more, student with autism or Asperger's. So.
Okay. Does it make a difference to the way you teach in the classroom?
It has to be more one-on-one with our student. You need to make sure that they understand the task that's at hand and making sure that they're actually completing the task, so it's more one-on-one. And
we do have to modify the expectations somewhat, because he's basically not capable of doing some of the work that the other students are. So, but that's the case we have various levels of ability in the class anyway, so I guess that student has more needs than the others, but so we sort of modify it in that way.
Yeah, so it wouldn't really necessarily be it's because the child has autism, it's just he's at a different learning level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'd have different setups for different kids at different learning levels anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of pedagogies do you use in the classroom to make sure there's inclusion?
We make sure our students are paired with students that he gets along with and likes, because if he's in a group where he doesn't like one of the students, he often just will not do anything. He'll have a bit of a meltdown. So it's really important that we're aware of who he's working with.
And that awareness is really important because of the way that he finds it really tough to work with kids who he seems to think are teasing him or putting him down in some way, or even breaking rules and things like swapping food at lunchtime. He sees that as a real major issue and really has a problem with that. So basically making sure he's paired with kids that will be more tolerant towards him.
Okay. What resources does the school provide with you, for you? Sorry.
We're quite lucky. We have almost a full day of support almost every day of the week. So.
Through an SSO, we have basically a couple of different ones that come in. So I would say at least 2/3 of the day.
Yeah.
2/3 of every day we would have somebody in here.
Okay.
That their specific role is to work.
Okay. So normally you have two come in during the day, so they swap over and stuff.
Yeah.
What sort of outside support do you receive? So any support sort of from the family or from outside of school?
There's no set support from outside school. I mean, we have lots of meetings with the carers of this child. So I guess she's a foster mum.
Yeah.
Would come in probably once a week to chat to us about how things are at home, how things are at school. It's usually fairly consistent too with if things are not going so well here, then it's the same at home. So
you'd say keeping the communication open is, the key to...
very important.
Yeah.
And, I think our student's pretty lucky because he's got a family that can come in and communicate easily with us. So.
With a child that has, this is sort of answered earlier, with autism, learn the same material as other students?
It's along the same lines, like they're not learning completely different topics, but it is modified significantly so that they can achieve at a good level and feel success, because that's probably the most important thing. With him coming into a mainstream school in the last year.
It's only been this year that he's been full-time in a mainstream school. He did a fairly big transition time at last year.
Okay.
So we make sure that he's achieving success and feeling positive about being in a mainstream school. So.
What sort of social mechanisms do you have in place to ensure social involvement and social well-being for the child with autism?
Well, to get him outside to play is one of our biggest battles that we're trying to win at the moment, and we find through rewards that works. By him going outside and doing the play outside with people, then he will then get time on the computer. That works really well.
Yeah, he does love his computer. So, but once again, making sure he's with the right students who will look after him or stand up for him if anything does happen out in the yard. With the 350 plus kids at the school, not everyone knows this student very well and might not be so tolerant as what the students here are.
For example, when we just had our closing ceremony, a child waved streamers in his face, had a bit of a meltdown. So just going back to one of your questions, when there's a situation when he does have a bit of a meltdown, it's often getting him to calm down first, talking to him in a very calm voice, making sure that he starts breathing again, because he'll just cry and have a bit of a tantrum. So getting him to stop, breathe, look at you, explain what's happened, deal with the situation, and then calm him from there. So, and often we need to step in because some students are really good and he will help, but
Alright, well, thank you for that. Thank you for your time. It's some very valuable information.